Hello to you. I'm Jarrell. This is my review for the Kmise 5-string tenor ukulele. So I guess I'll give you a little sound sample first, just so you can have a listen. And I'll get a little closer so you can hear the paired chorus here. Okay, so I love this instrument. Not going to beat around the bush. It's fantastic, has great build material, great manufacturing. I'm very happy with it. I'm certain I'll be playing it for a very long time. So, what stands out about this fella is his paired chorus here. You will often see in discussions people discussing why they prefer a high G or a low G. What? Why not both? That's what this instrument solves or presents a solution for. So you have your low G and you have your high G. If you are finger picking, it's actually pretty easy to hit just the bottom string. And it's also easy to make sure you hit both, but it does take a technique. For example, if you did want to pick both, it's easy to only hit the low G by mistake, and how you get around that is you sort of have to push down on both. You approach them from the very top, and you pluck from there. And you're not digging into it, but you push down on both of them a little bit, and you just push through it to the side, and you'll get both of them nice and clean. It's a very specific technique that's a little bit different, where the other strings you can approach from the side and push through, like that. If you do the side push through, you're going to miss that. You need to approach from the top. It's a very pleasant sound. I know that the phone microphone doesn't pick it up all that well, but it is very nice to listen to. So, again, with other instruments, it's quite easy to accidentally mute the tone of the instrument a bit as you set the back against your body. As I stood up, I did mute the tone a little bit. And also, when your forearm pushes against that, you'll be double muting the tone. So I'll just show you again an example of what it sounds like when you do that. So I'll mute the back with my stomach here. And then I'll take it away from my body. You can see it rings much more freely. And then, of course, you'll double the effect of muting it if you're pinching it tight like that. So that's something I like to keep in mind. This instrument, I notice, is quite susceptible to that, but you're going to see that on the vast majority of instruments anyway. So this Kmise, I should probably ask a rep how it's supposed to be said, has a solid mahogany top. So it's not a laminate, and I feel that it has quite good projection. I've only played it indoors, but I think the projection is nice. I really like the amount of sustain that comes out of this because it leads to expressiveness. And the phone microphone really, isn't great at picking up, that sort of sound range and the sustain and the really nuances in the music. But when you're there, you can really hear it. It has great sound. These strings are quite sympathetic when you play the other strings. If you're just doing a lead, you can hear it's quite ghostly. So when you play it in person, it's much more has much more depth than just hearing it through a digital microphone anyway. So the rosette is actually quite nice. It's nothing overly fancy, but it's not distracting. It's a bit understated, and it's quite nice. I like the rosette. The fretboard, I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it's this really nice light color, and not sort of the darker look. And the frets are not like that silver, but they have a sort of a copperish look to them, and I quite like that. So I think it's quite handsome in terms of the material they use. The fretboard has a really nice grain to it. It sort of has like a blackened sort of a texture to it when you can see the grain of the wood there. I'm not sure how they did that, but it's really lovely. It's just subtle. The saddle is, I believe these sort of pearl dots are hiding screws that allow it to attach quite firmly to the top. And one thing I did notice is there's a minor gap that you can sort of see. You can stick a bit of paper under there in the corners, but it doesn't go any farther than that. And I think Steve from Steve Strings has an awesome channel, and he reviewed that, and he sort of pointed out these sort of things, and I wondered if that was sort of consistent. It doesn't go any farther, so it's glued, quite securely, and again, I believe it is screwed down there, so nothing really to worry about, but it is, it's not noticeable visually. You're not really even going to notice it, but it is there. I really like the texture of the instrument. It sort of has a sort of a, not entirely glossy, but sort of a satin sheen with the texture from the grain of the wood. It's very handsome. It feels nice to hold. It's nice in the hand. And again, it's a bit mahogany top, sides, and back. And they say the top is mahogany. It absolutely looks solid to me. This is a bone saddle, which is compensated. So that means that it takes into account the various gauges of the string. Out of the box, I needed to take some relief out of the neck, so I needed to turn it clockwise to tighten it a bit. The intonation was, when I got up here, is a little bit sharp, but I feel like the action is just a little bit on the high side, so what I'm going to do at some point, whenever I have to do a string change, I'm going to sand down the bridge just a little bit, just to lower the action a little bit. Because the farther down you have to press, the sharper your notes will get. You can see the action there. I'm sure it's fine, and it's quite comfortable to play. It's not uncomfortable or anything. That sort of, and that's okay. Action. I don't really mind that, but I don't really want my notes to be a bit sharp once they get up there. But it really depends on what you play and how you play, and what's acceptable to you, because around here, if you're in like first position, everything sounds fantastic. The baritone Kmise that I have, intonation was absolutely perfect out of the box, so I was very happy with that, and I'm sure this is easily adjustable, as I don't really want to take any more relief out of the neck, because the it seems right. I gave it just a minor adjustment that seems like that should do it, so I think adjusting the bridge just a little bit would help with that. I didn't perceive any sort of flaws in the manufacturing. I enjoy the feel of the neck. It's quite smooth. You don't really feel any bumps or anything like that. It's just very pleasant overall. The handles on the pegs here are a sort of a textured brown plastic, and the way they catch the light makes them look interesting. It looks a little bit more premium than just, sort of a plain bit of plastic, because of the texture in there. And it gives it a bit of depth. I think that's quite handsome. It's very nice. And you also have these neat little windows on the tuning machines, and I think that's quite a fun thing as well. And I'm sure that, protects that from, sand or sea salt from getting in there. But you can see so it's closed tuning machines, but you get a nice window, and I think that's quite neat. It's quite handsome. You can see the join on the neck there is quite visible. Doesn't bother me. I don't really mind about those sort of things. You can see the join there. And not a huge deal. Your dots are nice and plain. I've seen other necks that sort of have like a star and, you know, other little graphics, and some people love that sort of thing. Me personally, I prefer just the dots are fine. You don't have a dot at the 3rd fret here, but it starts on the 5 and the 7 there. So visually, it's not overly flashy. You know, sometimes you see the ones with sort of the abalone binding and whatnot, and when you look at that, it's a little bit of eye candy. You know, it's quite nice, and it has a look to it. The binding here, well, it's sort of just like they just joined the top to the sides, so it doesn't look overly flash, and I'm certain that sort of the price point is quite comfortable. This was around 80 Australian dollars. So for America, that probably for US dollars close to maybe $60 or so. And I absolutely adore the tone. It's gone flat as it's still, the strings are still stretching. There's a lot of room for expressiveness with this instrument. It's quite lovely. I can't wait to have a friend around to play either this, and I can play the baritone at the same time, and I can listen to see how the two instruments sound together. So I'm looking forward to that very much. And of course it comes with the buttons for the strap. Let's go ahead and look at the accessories that came packaged with this fella. Okay, so it came with this carry bag, which, wow, I'm impressed. It has this nice sort of nylon, sort of like denim-y, almost denim-like sort of material. I'm not entirely sure what it is, some sort of cloth. But it's nice and padded on the inside. It's quite thick, and it's quite a bit better than other bags that tend to come with these instruments at this price point. It has these nice straps, so I'd feel quite comfortable, you know, wearing those if I were to wear it as a backpack. The handle is nice and secure, so you can feel safe with that. It's reinforced here, and it's not a heavy instrument anyway. It has a rubber padding at the bottom, so if you were to set it down, you don't have to worry about damaging the instrument. But there is padding on the inside, and then there's this rubber bit. So this is a great quality bag. There's a lot of storage space in here. You can fit your music in there in terms of your papers, or you can fit your iPad, you know, X15 Plus Pro Elite will fit in there probably, unless they make a bigger iPad. Probably won't go in there then. Even a tiny, you know, laptop will fit in there. So this is a great quality bag. I'm very impressed with it. I'm very happy with it too. Nice neutral gray color, and it's sturdy. I feel pretty safe putting an instrument in there. It came with one of these straps. I'm not a giant fan of putting straps on my instruments, but I wouldn't be able to comment on the quality of that. It ties on with these sort of shoelace type things, but these are quite slick, so unless you're really careful with your knots, they can sort of slip and come loose. But, you know, it's there. At least they include it for you. It's quite nice that they do that. Also, it comes with extra strings, all of the strings, including the high and low G, and there are a bunch of picks. So I don't think I'll have to... I won't have to buy picks for a while. All their instruments come with picks, it seems, and hey, this one's pretty rad looking. I quite like this one here. That's kind of neat. This feels kind of thick. These feel like a 1mm to me. So I don't personally use picks, but if I hand the instrument to a friend, I'll let them use a pick. So, oh, hey, cool, there's this purple one in here. Neato. Ah, there's this sort of tortoiseshell looking pick. Neat purple one. Obviously, you can't guarantee what you're going to get. I would think they just sort of, you know, drop whatever picks are in there. And these Aquila strings, you know. These are quality Nile gut. And then you have the wound low G in there. So I'm appreciative that they do that. It's nice that they include the extra strings. I don't have to, you know, buy another set for a while. the picks, you know, they're quite thick. I personally wouldn't use such a thick pick on an instrument in this range anyway. But that's about it in terms of what comes with it. I think that's great. Good quality bag, comes with the strap, comes with pick, and at the price point, it's kind of crazy. If you're interested in getting one, the price point's so low. There is very little reason to not pick one up. I think the manufacturing is great. The build quality is excellent. It's great materials, and at the price point you're paying, you know, you expect less and you get a lot more than you think you are going to get. I'm very happy with the sound. And these are the nut is bone as well. You know, you get such a great sound out of it. It's a nice, sweet, mellow tone, and I'm certain that I'll be playing this for a very long time. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and I'll be sure to answer any questions that you have. If you'd like to see more of the instrument, hear more sound samples, let me know, and I will record them. So I hope this has helped you decide whether or not you would like to pick up one of these instruments. I 100% would encourage you to pick one up. At such a great price point. It sounds great. The build quality is fantastic. I give it 10 out of 10 stars. If I could give it more stars, I would, but I would run out of stars for the other instruments that I have to review. So I hope this has been useful to you. My advice, pick one up. I have a feeling you're going to really like this. Take care of yourself. See you next time.